Hello and welcome to Hobby Vlog number 217, and I just want to say thank you to every single person who has voted so far for my little Reaper yearly challenge, so painting a miniature every week from the Reaper collection I've got, and I have run the prize draw when I will reveal the winner very shortly. So last week it was voted that I paint the three Dwarves from the DHL Classics. I'm not going to hold them up because I'll drop them, there's three of them, but I will plop a picture on the screen now of what they look like. So yeah, I had a lot of fun painting those up, so thank you very much to everyone that voted. And the one that won this week is here, Jack the Ripper. So there we are. So I'll be painting Jack the Ripper up, which requires a bit of assembly, and it looks like quite a fun miniature, so I'm looking forward to that. Now, I will remind you, I'm put on the screen now, this is how it works. So every week I pick at random 10 of the Reaper miniatures that I have in my stash, and each one of you that comments below with the name of the miniature for that week that you want me to paint will get entered into the draw. Now that draw will be happening monthly, as you can see. I'm going to do it today, and also once at the end of the year also. So get involved. All you need to do is leave a comment below with the name of the miniature that's on screen now. That list is also in the description, so if you want to just copy paste it down, you can do that. Do let me do that, and I will enter your name into the draw, and also maybe your pick will be what I'm going to paint next week. So don't hesitate, go and do that now. And while you're doing that, let's change over what's on screen to the prize draw, and it was very quick, so that's probably spinning now. And as you can see, the winner was Lekdog. Fantastic. So I actually am able to get in touch with Lekdog directly. He's in a Discord with me, so that's fine. So don't worry about reaching out to me at all. I'll reach out to you, mate. Congratulations, I'll be in touch, and next week I will reveal what your prize was, because you're going to choose it. So there we are. So that's that all out the way. Yeah, thank you ever so much for everyone who's been involved, and I really hope more of you that are watching will, because it's really odd to me that like 140, 150, 200 people watch the video and only like 10, 11 at most vote. It only takes half a second, and you also could be winning a prize at the end of February, so just get involved, leave me a comment. Anyway, started off slow this week, but I've got a couple of projects kicking off, and yeah, things are slowly but surely trending upwards over here for me, which is really good news. So I'll stop rambling. It's been a bit of a long intro, what with all that stuff about the Reaper things. Thank you for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Don't forget to vote, and I'll see you again at the end. Right, so we're back. We have a guest, but unfortunately the camper, the adventure we're doing today, doesn't have an NPC that I can easily give to you. So it's going to be Rosie and Steve playing Primula. He's going to give you a little hand, isn't he? So we're starting a new adventure today. It's called Involuntary Postman. And yeah, we start off in prison. We do. So we start in prison. So last week, like we said, we upgraded ourselves, so we got ourselves a little bit more better stats. And this week we are starting in prison, and we're going to see whether we can get out of prison. That's the first thing, obviously, and then find out what happens after that. So, are you excited, Rue? Yeah. Yeah. Oh goodness me. Are you excited, love?
Not that excited.
No. Are you excited, Steve?
Oh, I'm definitely that excited.
That excited. So yeah. So we'll. Good girl. So we'll be back at the end of the session and let you know what happened. Well, there we are. We have escaped the dungeon. Well, it wasn't really a dungeon, but it was. We were under lock and key, weren't we?
It was a dungeon.
What did you find when you did your searching, little one?
Cheese hard.
Hard cheese and crusty bread. And what did you make? Do you remember?
No.
You made some little packets to put the crusty bread and cheese in, so that the bounders wouldn't see it, and wouldn't know that we'd taken it. Very smart. So we were in there cleaning up and doing a little bit of hunting, and then, do you remember the name of the person who knocked on the door?
No.
Odo. I can't remember his second name. Proudfoot. It was Proudfoot. Odo Proudfoot, who is a employee of the postal service. And what did he ask us to do? Do you remember that? Oh, come on.
I don't know.
What did he give you?
The letter.
We were asked to deliver a letter all the way across to over here to the Marish.
We were here.
Yeah.
And that was already here.
Yeah, we've got to go all the way there, and we've been told we're not allowed to go along the main road, so we're going to have to go across the green country and then cut our way through the woody end. So it's going to be a bit of an exciting adventure. And we have been, basically we were punished for being naughty over the previous adventures, and were locked up and told to tidy up the cellar at the town hall, and then we've now been commuted, that sentence has been commuted to deliver this letter at high speed as quickly as we can, all the way to, do you remember the name of who we're giving it to? Farmer Maggot.
Farmer Maggot.
Yeah, so that's going to be good. So anyway, it's a nice short session. Next week we'll start the adventure proper. That was just the setup. But did you enjoy that, love?
Yeah.
Yeah? Cool. Right, well, what do you say to the camera?
Bye.
Bye-bye. Well, this has gone pretty well. You can see I've been making use of weight, and the biggest challenge has been weighting down in between the ribs. However, using these, they're heavy enough to make a difference, so that worked out all right. So yeah, we're just gonna carry on with this, with the next step. The next step is gonna be the top. So my plan here is to do it like this, and then I actually have a tab which is gonna so fold a tab down here. So that's how I'm planning on doing this. And if I'd thought that in the future ones, what I'll do is I will leave some tabs on the back of the 595 length one, which will then mean I'll be able to attach it nicely here as well. However, I'll put tabs and glue them in onto this, so it should be tight enough on this one. So that will just be the top, so it'll be a shape like this, or like that, and then straight down to there, and that then will butt up nicely against the wall, which is going to come here when it's done. Yeah, it's literally just going to come off like this, I think. So yeah, it's pretty solid. That's not going anywhere, as you can see, and when it's got sides and the top on it, it's going to be completely solid. So yeah, pretty happy with that. I will continue working on this and come back. I'm going to do a full build through, show you all the steps quickly, maybe as a montage and a voiceover when I've actually proven this is the technique I'm going to use. But for now, I'm just happy to prove that I think this is going to work. Right, the vote for week 4, I think it's week 4, whatever, for this coming week, was DHL Classics Dwarves 03351. So I'm going to get into these, hopefully not destroy the pack like I did with the last miniatures. There we are, that's better. And we'll have a quick look at them. So we've got a dwarf. Oh, get it right. They've got a dwarf with a crossbow. That's pretty cool. We've got a dwarf there who wants to jump with a dirty gripping axe. And we've got a dwarf with a sword. So there's a little bit of cleaning up to be done on these, just to use a sharp knife to take that sort of flash off there. I'll stick them in the hot water and hot soapy water, give them a scrub. And I'm also looking at these, I'm going to stick these to some bases, some proper bases, because they're not going to be very stable, particularly, look, they're falling over already. They're not going to be very stable, so I am going to stick them to some 25.5 or whatever the normal bases I use. So once I've done that and got them primed up, we'll have another quick look at how they look, and then I'll get them down onto the painting bench. Okay, so I've got to a good place, and I've decided that this is just going to be a total practice run, and I'm going to now go and make 4 brand new ones, basically learning what I've learned. So the first thing I've learned is that this angle here I cut initially, when I cut it down I thought I'd cut it too steep, which I had. I then cut it too shallow, and I've had to bring it back, but I've brought it back. I've worked out how long that top line needs to be, so that's a good lesson. I've also proven the top, so you can see that has a flap and it sits nicely over there, and that's going to work well. So there's a couple of things that have gone pretty well. Some things that I've made a mistake, and actually the main reason why I am going to get id of this, if I hadn't made this mistake I probably could have used this example, is I need to think more about how I'm attaching things. For example, I really should have left a tab on the bottom at the back here so that I could secure it easily at the bottom. Now I could potentially get around that, but I also think I should have left a tab at the top of each of these ribs, so when the sides come up I can then use a clamp to attach the sides to the ribs, and that will make it secure. The only other thing to add is for how I'm going to actually attach the top onto the ribs. I'm going to stick a little sliver of XPS going across here, and that will then create more of a platform. So I'll cut one that I'll cut them so they run basically the whole length of the rib, and that will give me something to actually attach the top to. So I will go downstairs now. I'm going to work on this in the workshop because I'll have a little more space. I'm going to do the measuring in there and do the initial cutting, and then I'll come upstairs and do the assembly up here. And once I've got everything cut out, I will do a full assembly on camera, probably with a time lapse and probably with a little bit of a voiceover. And I'm planning on providing the plans for this, as well. So I'm not sure when that will happen, but I'm planning on drawing out the diagrams of what each of the shapes are, what you need to cut, so basically a cutting list. So if you want to join in and give it a go, then you don't have to go through this painful kind of learning process I'm going through. So anyway, I'm going to go downstairs now, take a bunch more cardboard, and yeah, get some templates drawn out and get ready to do the mass production of the 4 of these bastions. And I'm pretty pleased. I'm really happy with how this has worked, and I'm a little bit disappointed that I'm not going to keep this one, but it's served its purpose at the very least. I've learned quite a bit, and I will feed all that learning back to you very shortly. Well, there we are, 2 painting sessions, and I've got the 3 DHL classic dwarves painted up, and they're looking brilliant. Really enjoyed it. I don't know how any of you do this, but I was telling myself a story while I was painting them. So they're 3 brothers basically, and the way you tell them apart is they wear different coloured trousers. So we've got red, green, blue, and they're 3 dwarven brothers who pick different weapons and fight together as a group. So there we are. I don't know whether any of you do that while you're painting, but I did. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to work on basing them. So I'll just adjust the camera, and I'm going to do a slightly different basing technique on these. Similar to my normal one, but slightly different. So yeah, let's get that done. So here we have the kind of sandy dirt that I collected with Rosie in the summer, and I used this sifted mixed up with my grout for my grout mix. However, I kept all of the unsifted stuff, all the leavings after I'd sifted it, and I've actually started to make use of that as well. So what I'm just doing here is I've put some of Luke's basing glue onto this base. I probably should get a smaller spoon than that huge shovel. And I'm going to make use of this very light coloured dirt, so it'll look like they're stood on like a little bit more of a gravelly base than I normally do. Just like that. So just shove that on, give it a shake it off, and that will really set them off nicely, like so. So I'll do that on all of them, finish this off. I'll do half and half as per usual, and then I'll paint the rims, and then I'll show you what they look like when they're completely finished. It's time to get stuck back into doing the station on Rosie's model railway, and so what I'm doing right now is just priming up the platforms. I've just had another quick look out there. I think I know what I'm going to do with the landform, but the first thing I want to do is get this primed, and then we'll start working with some foam and some modelling compound to get the landform sorted around the platform. Now, one of the interesting things here is that the ground level that's around the layout is basically in large areas the same level as the train tracks. Now normally, now that's probably not right, and particularly where that lake is, I probably should have lifted that up a bit more, but yeah, that's just how it is. So what I'm going to have to do is raise the land level up so that these are going to sit like this basically, and that slope will be coming from this left hand side, and the station building is going to be here, and I'm going to need to lift the landform up so that it basically is at the same height as this, and the station building can sit on there, and then we'll just have to do a little bit of a fascia. I'm also going to need to fill in the back of this platform, but I can do that with the land. So yeah, so it's not going to take very long, it's not going to be very complicated, but it does need to have a little bit of thought applied to it. So for now, get this primed, get these painted, and then we'll look at sculpting the correct contours to have it actually fit in place. Shouldn't take me too long. Well, Francois Lodoni is done and actually already entered into the contest, and that means that I've managed to do the 3 characters that I wanted to before the end of January, when the challenge, when this contest entry deadline is. So I'm pretty happy with that, actually. I didn't think that I'd managed to get them done, but there was a period of time there I thought I wasn't going to. But these paint up so nicely, they're really, really good. So yeah, there we are. Pretty happy with how he looks, pretty pleased with the end result, and pretty happy to have managed to get 3 done over the month. So yeah, very happy. And there we are. So these have now had the bases sealed, then I went and painted the rims, and I've sprayed them with varnish, and so they're done. It's Thursday, so I managed to get that done early enough. I did it just in 2 sessions, 2 painting sessions. I'm pretty pleased with that, and I really like how they look. So thanks to everyone that voted for these. I think they look great, and I'm really now looking forward to and excited to see what I get to paint next week. I'm really enjoying this challenge, and I really appreciate every single one of you that's bothering to vote, because it doesn't take long, but it gives me a lot of pleasure. And yeah, I'm really excited also for the end of next week, where I'll be doing the prize draw for the first 6 or 7 weeks of voting, and there's some people who have voted every week, so you'll have many more opportunities to win on that. Anyway, enough of that rambling. Get your vote in down below for this week's miniature, please. I will appreciate that massively. And yeah, this is what I've managed to get done in 2 sessions. Very, very cool. Right, so I'm going to make use of this white foam to build up the terrain here. And so what I've done is I've just offered it up, and I've marked on roughly where I need to cut it to avoid this fence. And what I'll obviously be doing is kind of grading it up in a slope like that. Now this is too thick, it needs to be 1.5 centimeters thick, so all this is going to get carved down, but I'm probably going to mainly hand carve it, make use of a hot wire cutter with the hand, and get that done, because I will then be able to build anything up with the modelling compound. Now my idea is to have the platform building, the station building, sat on a relatively flat, so like that, and have it cut away so that the platform can sit into the foam, and at this end I'll have the slope up, and at this end the platform will run on just into the rest of the landscape, and I'm going to build up here so that this ridge here, which currently is removable, I'm going to build up so that the ridge kind of comes round a little bit and then goes down. So that will pull out still, but it will have a continuation going down there. So that's my idea, just because that will increase the this scene block which I've got here, and I think it will look quite interesting. So what I'm going to do now is cut this here, bring it back, do some more sketching of where I need to cut that, and then basically work through a process of trimming it to the right size and then get it glued in place. So I'll bring you back when I've done a little bit of that and show you how it's going, and show you some of the techniques I'm going to use. Okay, so I've basically shaped this, done a little bit of a cutaway to follow that curve, done a bit of cutaway here to follow the curve of the railway line, and what I'm now doing is working out where I need to cut to have the space for the slope and the track and then the platform. So I put a carriage on, put it close so that it's not going to get knocked, and what I'm now going to do is draw around it. Then I'll cut that out, come back and draw around the actual draw around the station building, and that will be the flat area that I need, and then we can start to kind of build this up properly. So rather than drawing around the whole of it, what I'm going to do is just do the extent. So this is the slope, so I know that I need to have it flat roughly to here, so maybe I've actually cut way too much of this white foam, that's not a problem. But I know between this section and this section I need it to be cut out square, and then we can start to kind of like slope down away from this, and it'll have to be down to the flat by here. So potentially what I can do is something like this. Okay, and then I better slope that up to meet the level which needs to be at the level by there. Because I have also trimmed this down to be just less than 2 centimeters, about 1.8 mil that these are high. So this is now about 1.8 mil. I've been making use of my Proxon a lot, and yeah, that's going well. So I'm going to take this now, get this cut. It's going to be a little bit fiddly, but what I'll do is I will cut into here, get that distance, and use the Proxon to cut a completely straight line across here, and that should work out nicely. So I'll get that done, bring you back, show what it looks like, and then we'll start to mark on where the building's going to go. Right, so let's go to shaky camera, show you this. So you can see that the cut's not perfect, but it's close enough for what I need. So the platform fits in there, and this is the station building. So that's where I need to leave a little, actually need to indent it very slightly, but I probably won't, because I'll probably just build the layer up, but put a little bit of texture on this, and that will then embed it in. So this is where I need to shave down and make it a slope. And what I'm probably going to do is have it relatively flat where you've got the lines. So we've got a path coming into the door, and we've got a little area, maybe a little garden, a little vegetable garden for the postmaster there. And then what I'll do is I'll start to build it up into that cutting over here. Pretty pleased with this progress. I'm going to stop very shortly because I'm running out of time for this session, but I think I'm going to try to do the shaving down here if I can. I'm just going to do that with a handheld cutter, and hopefully I won't make a mistake. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with how this is looking at the moment. Well, there we are. We've got a nice slope down here, and when I put the building on, that looks nice and natural. So what I'm going to do now is leave that to think about it for a little bit more. Then I'm going to start, next thing I'll do is I'll start to build up a little bit here. Probably not too much, I might build a little bit up, I'm not going to build too much. I'm going to need to carve that back. I don't know if you can see there, but it's knocking on the on the carriage. So I'm going to need to bring this round more smoothly like this. So I might just go for a scrub area there rather than building up actual like cliffs. But I might just go for a bit of a scrub area there. But yeah, so there's a few little bits of tidying up to be done. As I just kind of trim that round a bit more. And then I'll glue this in place and start to build up the actual texture, which is very exciting. There's a lot of measuring and quite a lot of cutting going on here, but we're getting there. So I've got all the pieces ready. You can see I've got a stack here. These are the spines, and what I'm doing at the moment is I'm working out where I'm going to be cutting for the tabs at the bottom. Now I've decided to do these at an angle, as you can see, and I'm making notes of the widths so that I can transfer that over to the other ones. And also on this on the forward nose part, I've got 2 small tabs, and this is what the side will be glued to, will be attached to there. I've made it that small because my clamps have to be able to reach, and as you can see from that, that is going to be able to reach down for that to that tab there. Over here we have the stack of all of the ribs, each defined with how wide they are, and again I've got the top tab like I described, and what I'm going to do now is start working on, in the same way as I've done along the bottom here, I'm going to be working out the bottom tabs for all of these, and all of these, and all of these, and all of those, and all of those. So yeah, and then I can start to glue. So my thinking is I'm going to get the spine done and get that stuck in place on each of the 4, get that done, because that's the first thing to do. And then once I've got the spines cut and glued, then I can start working on the ribs, because I need the spine to dry before I can stick the ribs in, so that's the most efficient way of doing it. So yeah, so far so good, looking all right, pretty happy with it. As I said, I'm going to try to do some plans for this, but at the very least I will put a document together with some cutting instructions and what have you, if you do want to do this as well. So Yeah, and I'll bring you back once I've got all of this. Once this is glued in, show you what it looks like with these tabs, and then we'll start working on the spines, and I'll show you how I go about gluing those as well. But yeah, this is a big project, massive project, but progress is being made. There's going to be a rush of deliveries over the coming weeks, months, I'm not sure. There's quite a few things. I know there's at least one other game that's currently on a truck, if you can make that out. This is Dune. It's my first CMON, and I call them CMON, not come on, because it doesn't say come on, it says CMON. This is my first CMON game. So we're going to have a quick look at it and see what it entails. So this is the plastic tokens. I always love these 90-degree ones. I look at them, I think you could put a miniature there, that could be a really good display piece. So I keep those for like cool little diorama bases. Yes, I'm a hoarder. So what else have we got? The smugglers. So I will be painting these up. So these will be coming to both this channel and to an average painter. And I'll hopefully get games in with Steve at some point, because he loves Dune as well. And then we have a big box. Oof, goodness me, that's heavy. And 4 more diorama pieces. So let's move that out of the way. Quite a solid box, actually. Goodness me, look at the size of that thing. Dune War for Arrakis is a thematic strategy board game centered around the Desert War events from the acclaimed Dune novel by Frank Herbert. So I'm going to have a quick look. I'll get the single-use plastic of all of these, and we'll have a quick look and see what it contains, and then we'll do a proper evaluation in another dedicated video probably. It's quite hard to get the shot angle right. So all of that single-use plastic, which as regular viewers will know I love so much, is off. Let's see if we can get into these. So first we're going to have a look at the smuggler's box. A bit of a frog in my throat. So we have the components. We have a smuggler leader, smuggler units. Now this is nice, a nice visual representation, so you're not trying to remember what they are. We have some ornithopters, some cards, and a tile as well, I believe. Smuggler's board. Yeah, I really do have a frog in my throat. Right, so let's just got a little bit of tape holding this on, so give me a second just to remove that. Well, that was rather annoying, but I got there. So here we have my first ever CMON miniatures. And they're pretty nice. It'll be fun to paint those. Got a nice little bit of detail, enough relief that my basic painting style will work okay. Board game miniatures are never the same as, like, you know, something like a proper sculpt from a painter's speciality place. But these are pretty nice. They're about early games workshop quality. Certainly clear enough lines and depth and definition that means that they'll paint up okay. And this is the carry-all. That's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool little ship. So that's what's in the smuggler's box. We'll have a look at the Spacing Guild now. So the Spacing Guild. Let's see what's in that. And the little contents. There's just a printed out thing that's just fallen off. So we have the components. We have the Harkonnen leader, 12 houses major troops. We have some highliners, 1 Harkonnen, 1 Atreides, and 6 space frigates. And we have some boards as well. Nice quality there. I think one thing you can expect from CMON, it's kind of a bit like Games Workshop, like I say, that you are going to get okay quality generally. It's not going to be terrible. They're big enough. They have good relationships with the manufacturers and a good reputation to protect. Oh, this one's got tape on more sides than the other one. So cut that. So yeah, so I think you're pretty much guaranteed on quality for CMON. Gameplay, who knows? But quality of components, pretty much convinced. So we've got some kind of rubber rings. So these are flying. So we have little plastic stands. Now it'll be interesting to see whether they push on very nicely. Now that was a nice positive. It's not going to fall off that look, but then it's easy enough to remove. That's nice. Good quality components. Yeah. And like I say, it'll be fun to paint some of these. Now, some of these obviously I'm going to need to be paying attention because the red and the green mean things. Well, obviously we've got House Atreides and we've got House Harkonnen. So that is going to be something to pay attention to when I do the painting. Make sure I keep red or green motif on the correct ones. And here we have our troops, major troops. Again, pretty cool, look good, nice definition, not muddy, which is the problem you have with cheap miniatures where they don't have good molds. So there we are. Right, we'll put that away and we'll have a look at the main box, see what the main box has to offer. Right, I remove the lid because it's a pain filming that, and I just want to appreciate briefly the artwork on that. It's absolutely beautiful. Right, so what do we have? Free CMON content, get it here. Right, I'm not sure, I'll have a look at that. We have the rule book, which has a rule summary, which is very useful. And the game board, North Pole area. It can be interesting to try this game out. I might have to try play it solo, and then I can teach it to Steve. So, a single player game. There we are. The Mardi solo mode is used where the player leading the Atreides while the Harkonnens are controlled by the game. So there is a solo mode, so I can give that a go. So that's good. We then have a shrink wrap, which I'm not going to open now. I'll go into the main unboxing with all of the tokens, the player boards, and all that stuff. And look at the bottom of the box for the tray guide, it says. There we are. So we'll lift that out. Dunk. And let's see what else we've got in here. So this is going to be the game board. Again, you can see that looks like nice thick board, hardboard. I'm not going to unwrap it just yet. I'll do that in the main video, the dedicated video. And here, oh, okay. So that's quite nice. That folds out. What do we have? Oh, we've got a dice bag. I am a bit of a sucker for dice bags. Got a dice bag. We've got cards, a whole bunch of specialist dice, which could probably straight away go into the dice bag and then go back into that. So I'm going to do that. And we've got a whole load more miniatures. So let's just put these dice into the dice bag. There we are. Excellent. And that can go there. So let's have a look at these. Obviously, identifying who's who right now is not going to be very easy for me, but we're just looking generically. So they're pretty cool. They're not bad. They're not bad at all. They're certainly, like I said, they're not like proper sculpts, like resin sculpts or whatever, which you get from some of the specialist companies. But I actually prefer these because these you can paint honestly. So yeah, so that is look like, that's that. Lift that out and have a look. Oh yes, this is what I've been waiting for. So this is just another tray full of more normal troops. I'm just going to say something else which is interesting. The actual quality of the quality of the plastic tray is good. It's not folding on me. It's not flimsy. It's solid. See, it's not bending easily. But this is what I was looking for. Oh, it's tied in. It's tied in. Let me undo that tie. And here we are, the old one. Wow. That is huge. That is huge. Just to make sure I put it back to watch the video to see how it was in. I was so excited I just pulled it out without thinking. I think that's right. And then these are the normal size sandworms. So yeah, pretty cool stuff. Pretty cool stuff there. Again, how that goes in. There we are, that's it. And then a whole load more troops. Quite a lot of miniatures actually, more miniatures than I realised. And then underneath that, there are more ornithopters and more carryalls, and I think these are the harvesters, aren't they? Some more harvesters, which is pretty good. So there we are, that is a very brief view at what is in the box for Dune. And so it's a Kickstarter edition, so if you haven't got it now, it's too late, I believe. But it is pretty cool. I'm pretty impressed with what I see so far. I will get myself a proper unboxing. We'll have a look in detail at all the miniatures, and I'll look at trying to do a solo game, learning game. I'm not entirely sure whether I will film a learning game or not. I probably won't film the learning game, because fumbling around while the camera is going is a fast way to get annoyed at yourself, and it's not great YouTube, and it's irritating to get things wrong, and you feel pressured. It's a lot of pressure when you're filming and don't know the rules, so I probably won't do that on camera. But I'll hopefully get a game with Steve, and we can have some fun on camera with this, because I want to play this on camera. I do want to film it, and I want to play it. I buy so many games, and every time I unbox one I say I'm going to play this one, and I don't play them, do I? But anyway, there we are, that's what's in the box. And well, actually there's some tokens, forgot about that one. Ah, nice. So this was an upgrade I took. So these are plastic tokens in place of the cardboard ones, and me being me, spent the extra money. So that will make it a little easier, a little bit less annoying. Cardboard ones are a bit light and they can be a bit annoying. So yeah, there we are, Dune the game. Fantastic. Well, would you look at that? I actually emailed Sarissa twice and then rang them today and found out that, well, they had never received my email, and then they found it in their spam filter. I'd sent it via their contact form, and they explained that unfortunately they get a lot of spam and they must have just missed my emails. However, within literally 30 minutes of me talking to them on the phone, I have received the instructions, so I'm over the moon. I'm a big fan of Sarissa, as regular viewers of the channel will know. I've built loads and loads of their stuff, so it's pretty cool that this is a Sarissa kit now. And I'm absolutely certain to order some more DarkOps stuff going forwards. But what we're going to be able to do is we're going to start assembling it. I'm so happy. So I'm going to take the base, we're going to take the sides, and we're going to start gluing them up. I mean, I probably could have guessed, but you start with 1 on the bottom and you go up to 10. And you can see here that we have 1 and we're going up to 10. So I'm probably not going to film very much of this. I might film a little bit. I don't actually have very much time right now as it happens. I'm just so excited to have the instructions. I wanted to do a quick thing. What I'm going to do is pop out the base here, and then we'll have a look at how that looks. There we are. And then we're going to pop out part 1, and I'm just going to see how that looks. I'll be gluing this with PVA, so it'll take a bit of time to dry, but it'll be more solid. I prefer that to using super glue for MDF kits. And I'm going to paint the actual ship part, the outside part, once it's assembled, because I want to make it look quite funky. So there's part 1, and part 1 is going to glue in there. And I believe what you're looking to do, if I just zoom that in actually on what I'm doing, because I'm no longer on the sprues, I believe what you want to have is it kind of button up against the line. So you shouldn't go over the line, I don't think, but you should not be, so you're not looking at doing it so it's flush, I don't think. But I'm going to, let me actually cut the other part 1 out. Let's just get the other part 1 out, and then we'll have a little, I shouldn't have started this because I really don't have time to focus. can get this, work out this first part, I'll be able to do the rest really quickly off camera. So there's the other part one. So let's just have a quick look. Yeah, so I think in this, to make it line up, I think the line here is going to align with the line underneath. So it's going to be a flat back, and the prow is going to be slightly forwards. Or is it telling me, right, I don't really have time to do this. I'll be back. I've got to go and collect Rosie from school basically. I've just noticed the time. So I'll be back, but I'm actually looking at these instructions, and you've got that piece there, the bowsprit, and it looks like that might go down in between. So I think I just need to have a little bit of a play with these parts, including the bowsprit, and yeah, then we can work it out. Now, I think they did say that they've changed it, so this being an old model, if we have a look, the bowsprit on the drawing is very small. So I've got an old version, I've got the DarkOps version, which is pre-Sarissa, and I think it's actually this that's going to be used for the bowsprit. So there are going to be some interesting parts, and this video might end up being useful for someone who's got an old one and then gets these instructions. So anyway, I will a bit kind of like overexcited to get started here. I'll be back very shortly in your time to continue the assembly, and we'll see exactly how this needs to be laid out, and then I'll start gluing. But I'm not going to glue until I'm certain what I've got and what I'm doing is right, because this is important to me to get right. And yes, you can see that definitely, there we are, saying I wasn't going to do it and I've just done it. That definitely slots down in there, and that makes these follow, that's better, that makes these follow the outside of the line. That makes a lot more sense. That makes those follow the outside of the line. There we are. It does also leave a gap at the back, so I might have to have a little bit of a play and see what goes at the back there. 5 minutes and 43 seconds of me muttering to myself, what brilliant YouTube. So I'm back from collecting Rosie, and I just had another couple more minutes to look at this and identify the other part. Now the thing is, this isn't the same as the Sarissa one, so if you buy this model from Sarissa it won't work like this. But what I'm going to need to do is stick that spine in place that has the rudder at the back and the prow at the front, and then these will stick on like so. So I will continue with that now, get that glued in, get the sides glued on, and I'll probably bring you back when I start to do, when I've done a little bit of the sides, and I'm starting to do maybe the cannon portals, the cannon holes. So yeah, really happy about this. Sorry for the rambling clip earlier, that was just my excitement coming through. When you see this next, it'll be a little bit more assembled. Well, that's the first part of my English starter box. This is the English Militia. There's another box of English Militia which I've primed but not, obviously I primed but not started painting. I've actually this evening got an awesome, looking forward to it a lot, a painting session with Tim, a video painting session which we have a lot of fun on, so I might try and make a start on them there. But that's them done. I'm happy with them. They've been entered into the little competition over at Blood and Pigment, and I'm pretty happy with how they've turned out. So starting up my little display box as I do, and I will fill this up and show you in the next one when they're finished, which is going to be, I think, the Sea Dogs. I think that's what I've chosen next, which is the next one I'm going to film for the an average painter, and then I'll show what they look like when they're here. Yesterday evening I had a really fun painting chat with my mate Tim, and before starting the conversation I had a little bit of time. I managed to start and finish this English captain in its entirety, which is just amazing. So that is now going to be entered into the Blood and Pigment contest, which is pretty cool. And during the conversation I painted up my second batch of English Militia, so that means yeah, that I got them completed as well entirely in an evening, which is really cool. Didn't film that because they're the same as the first English Militia, but they're looking really nice and very pleased with them indeed. So yeah, 5 miniatures completed in one evening. I think that's a new record for me, to be honest, when I'm just sat there painting, and I'm very happy with how they look. So I get some pictures of these now and get this submitted into the competition, the challenge. And yeah, another unexpected success. Really was good fun, and it was really nice catching up with him. So yeah, yes, we had a good productive time, but also it was nice to have a good chat with your mate. So this is going really well. As you can see, started to build up the sides, just doing it carefully, I'm not rushing myself. But what I have realised is that I'm going to be able to work on the upper rear deck as well. So while that's drying, I can work on the upper rear deck, and then while the upper rear deck's drying, I can do a little bit more on the sides. So yeah, I'm actually having a great time on this. Got a big silly smile on my face. So that's one of the upper deck, I believe, and so's that. And then you have some of these these shapes here. So that's upper deck, and that is. So what I'm going to do now is pop these out of the pop these out, start to build up the upper deck, and I'll bring it back and show you basically. I'm going to do a dry fit, and then I'll turn the camera back on once I've got it dry fitted, and then we'll glue it together. But yeah, pretty cool, pretty excited, and can't wait to see what this looks like when it's finished. And but this is going together really well. And if this finishes, if these two go together well, I will be buying more DarkOps. They've got a ginormous frigate that I really want, and a Galleon, and a proper big Galleon, and I'd love those because I do love ships. But anyway, that's I'm chattering again because I'm excited and happy about this build. But yeah, so I'm going to work on the upper rear deck, and I'll turn the camera back on once I've got it dry fitted. Well, I kind of did what I said I was going to do. I did start to try to dry fit for this raised section of the deck, but I haven't done any gluing because it's been quite confusing. This is where the changes in the instructions, which I was told about by Sarissa, are the biggest. However, I think I've finally managed to get it worked out. So again, if you're using the Sarissa one, then ignore this because it'll be different. But if you've got the old one, then basically these want to slope outwards, and the largest one will have an overhang and will go on the top, and that's for the top part of the half. And the deck piece actually balances on top of, let me just show you that. The deck piece actually balances on top of these three. So when we glue it together, we'll glue these three together and then glue that on top, like so. And then, this is quite hard to show, but then that then goes over the top and surrounds the deck piece that I painted. And it's a similar thing on the main top deck as well. So you can see that lifts off. This is sat on there, and then we have these two which kind of balance on here. Now there's a line here which normally has been indicative of there being some guide, or that's where the piece fits, but that's clearly wrong. As you can see, if you put that there, it overlaps. So if you place it so it's flush with the sides of the rest of the boat, then that works well. So that's how that works. If any one of you is on with on with the old version like me. Now what I have done, this is all glued, so I've done all the sides, and that's worked well. And I woke up panicking that I'd made a mistake and should have put this in sooner, but that does actually go in and fit flush, as you can see, with the top of the cannon ports. Now, bit odd that you have the cannon ports and you can't set cannons in to come out. You'd have to, if you were building this, you'd have to put your cannons inside and then glue this on top, which is a bit odd. And I'm wondering if I have made a mistake, and this should actually be a bit lower down, because if we have a look here, the rib, it's not touching the rib. So I don't know whether I've made a mistake there, and whether I should have glued this in below the cannon ports. But then if you look through, I don't know how well you can see that, the rib is above the line of the cannon ports, so I'm not sure. Anyway, a little bit of muttering there, but I'm just going to go with it as it is. It seems to be all right. It seems to look okay. The one thing I can't work out is this piece, which I thought was supposed to go in front of the poop deck, the end, but those is, well, it's way too narrow. Maybe it goes in front of, oh, there we are. Yes, it does. I'll fix that on live. So that goes in front of this one of the higher level of the poop deck. So there we are. I'll keep carrying on with this. I'm going to get those next bits assembled, and then it's going to be the really tedious task of all of these pillars. Need to get stuck in here and in here, and then we have these tops that go over the top. So yeah, that's going to be annoying. If we have a look at Sarissa, they've made them into like an actual fence, so you'd have to glue them in separately, but hey, they'll be fine. It's coming on nicely though. Pretty happy with how it's coming on, and looking forward to seeing what it looks like. And then I will assemble the second one, and then I'll probably paint them both together. So anyway, let's carry on with this now. So there we go, that is the result of a week very much of two halves. Where in the first part of the week I did very little, in the second part of the week I got into two projects I'm really enjoying. I've spent a lot of time on that Castillo de San Marcos, which hasn't been filmed because it's just been me measuring and marking and stuff. So yeah, I spent a lot of time hobbying this week. And then obviously so happy that DarkOps is, I managed to get hold of them and get the instructions. It's really cool to be building that ship finally. Congratulations again to Lekdog. I will be in touch with you, sir. And yeah, don't forget everyone else to add your vote below. The list will be on screen now, and it is in the description again. So do add your vote for which miniature you want me to paint this week, and you'll be entered into the draw, not just for February, but also for the entire year. So yeah, let's get involved, and who knows what you might win. I'll reveal the prize which Lekdog chose next week. Anyway, thank you ever so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. I'll wrap up by saying, as I always do in all of my vlogs, if any of you are impacted by the horrific wars both in Ukraine and in Israel, then my thoughts do go out to you and anyone you know who might be in that situation. Horrendous that it's still going on, absolutely crazy. It's been, what, 2-3 years now, is it? Madness. And to everyone, please do stay healthy, stay safe, and stay well.